Hi everyone, today I bring you a very special review, basically because it's a little bit out of my comfort zone, and that's Ernest Cline Ready Player One. I am not showing you my Spanish copy of the book because basically I don't remember where I place it. I know it's in one of my bookshelves, but I am not very aware of where. So you will probably see from this moment on a photograph of the cover somewhere. So going back to the book, my name is Clara and I'm the owner of the Ink Path, and we are going to do a spoiler-free review of Ready Player One. I hope that if you are new to this channel by any chance, you decide to stay. I hope you like this review, and I hope you subscribe or give me a like or both. And in case you actually subscribe, don't forget to click the bell that YouTube has set up down there so you have a notification every time I post a video. Having said that, let's go to Oasis. So, Ready Player One tells the story of a futuristic world where all the fuel and any kind of energy resource it's gone, where food is very little and very processed, and in this world people are either very rich or very poor. So there are people who invented this kind of immersive virtual reality that actually this was created by a kind of informatic genius, and within time this reality was accessible for everyone, because those who couldn't afford going to, for instance, a real school could use this virtual reality, which was set up basically to have this kind of public open to anyone schools. And lastly, in the end, people got more used to living inside this virtual reality called Oasis than outside. So there's more of a interaction within this little world that expanded to create planets and planets of themed games and other kind of places. So you spend more time with your avatar, living with your avatar, and consuming inside this kind of not real world than in the actual real world. So there's at the beginning of the novel there's a news piece of news that actually the creator of this game, the creator of this virtual reality that has now more followers than the actual real life, James Halliday, has died, and he actually recorded a message saying that the fortune that he had and the legal ownership of this company that he founded, that he used to create Oasis. So the control over Oasis is hidden somewhere inside the game, somewhere inside their virtual reality. So the gamer, the person who consumes Oasis, that goes to this quest to find this Easter egg, that it's how it's called, and find it, will be the owner of all of this, and basically will be like a millionaire or something. And from that moment on, a lot of gamers and a lot of companies, rival companies, decides to go on this quest to find the Easter egg. So nothing happens for a while, and then a user called Percival, that doesn't have a lot of level in his avatar, it doesn't have a lot of experience like in grades, or he doesn't actually have any money on his avatar other than what he installs in his missions. He finds the first clue to get the Easter egg. So from that moment on, the quest becomes a little bit cruder, rawer. Things get pretty serious. What should I say? I am not a very geeky computer gaming fan, but I remember having my doses of that when I was a teenager. So to me, reading a book about gamers was very, very interesting. Not only because I wasn't sure how he would, the author would be able to transform the game into words and still make you feel like you were playing the game, and also because my gaming experience is very, very small, and we are talking here about games of the 80s, and it's a lot of pop culture thing about the 80s. Music, games, films. There's a lot of reference to the 80s. So the good thing is that I had and I have an older brother who actually loves, and he lived during the 80s when he was a teenager. So I had a lot of reference check. I learned through his favorite films when I was small, and to me the 80s is not this kind of distant time where I didn't live and I didn't know anything about. So the beginning is a little bit slow because you have to set all these details that I explained you before. But once the quest starts, this is a non-stop book. And I must say that I adore this book basically because through Parzival, who is the main character, Parzival's story, Parzival is the avatar that first finds the first clue, and his real life is Wade Watts as a superhero character in the way of Clark Kent was written with 2 C's. So Wade Watts and his avatar Parzival, they were quite invested in the story, and you could actually tell how much investigation and how much background this book has, not only to explain to you the 80s references and the 80s vibe of the whole book, but to make you feel like you did all that research with Parzival as well. Basically because the reader doesn't have to be a gamer, and I feel like the apart from the tension and the action, which is very, very action-packed, what I love the most about this is that Ernest Cline managed to make the 80s a very, very relevant period of time and a very, very interesting period of time for those who hasn't lived in it, for those who haven't lived in it. And I loved how this is all intertwined with gaming culture and gaming rules, and every kind of game that you play, it's precisely explained. So the dynamic of the action is told through the video games you are playing with the main character. So I was, as I said, very scared about how that was going to be translated into words, but I found that it was so precise that in 3 lines you were all set for the game. You were all set to follow Parzival wherever he wanted to go. And I felt that is a very complicated tool to use, basically because the rules of translating or using one media and translate it into a different media or into a different kind of support device, which is the book, is not that easy to do. And doing that, maintaining the rhythm of the novel and the tension of the novel, because as I said, there are rawer things and more difficult things, and darker themes going on within the game and within the other opponent of Parzival. I find that he managed to create a world in which those who were gamers were comfortable, were very comfortable. Those who remember the 80s were like really living back the time, and those who, as me, were a little bit of gamers, but not in the near future, not now, and of course hadn't lived that era. It was very, very comfortable or I felt very comfortable clicking again with my gamer site after all these years. I think the last time I actually play like a gamer, I was like 20, and that's like 7 years. After that, I connected again with my gaming site, and also I could enjoy the world of the 80s with the recollections of moments that I had of the 80s, but also with the references that I didn't know were actually from that time. And I feel like all of that was very, very well combined in a very complex world, in a world that actually touches very, very darker themes and very, very possible futures for us that aren't actually that nice. And it's a debut novel as well. Back when this was published, it was his debut novel. So I feel like this is incredibly good for being a debut novel, and I sincerely I couldn't put it down. I read it all in 1 week, and I couldn't do other different thing than reading. So of course, this was a 5-star for me. I don't know if you have read the book, but if you have, I would love to know what you thought of it. And if you have lived in the 80s and you have read the book, I would love to hear what aspect of the book you like the most. And if you haven't read the book but lived in the 80s, which aspect of the 80s you miss the most? I, of course, watched the movie. And even though I like it, there are so many things that, of course, couldn't be done as in the book. So I wasn't as completely hype as I thought it would be, taking into account that I finished the book the day before, so the details were very, very fresh. And I hope you like this review, and I hope you tell me what you thought of it, of every question that I set on the table in the comment section down below. I hope you are having a great week. I am going to have a very, very interesting weekend, but I will tell you more about it next week. Bye!